Hey, Boston! Come on out there! Yeah, we're keeping warm? Alright, well, I have a question for you. You might know this one. What do we want? Equal rights! And when do we want them? Now! What do we want? Equal rights! When do we like them? Now! What do we want? Equal rights! When do we want them? Now! And Boston! Alright, it's great to see so many people out here in the freezing cold. This is amazing. Thank you. We are out here today to call on Obama and the new administration to support LGBT equality. We're talking about DOMA, Defense America Act. DOMA.
I'll check on your watch. I hope I don't crash my head open.
We still only receive 25% of the rights that heterosexual couples receive. That is because of the Defense America Act. Our marriages are not recognized in most of the United States, thus making us second-class citizens. We're also talking about ENDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. In most of the United States, gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people can be fired from their jobs just for being who they are. That's not right. Even in Massachusetts, while gay and lesbian people are protected, our transgender people are not protected in this state. That's not right. We are being treated like second-class citizens. Let's talk about don't ask, don't tell. Gays and lesbians are not allowed to serve openly in the military. Gays and lesbians from Massachusetts are not allowed to serve openly in the military. We are being treated like second-class citizens. That's not right. Hate crimes legislation. We're calling on Obama and the new Congress to pass hate crimes legislation. Hate crimes against gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people have gone up in the past year. That's not right. We're not protected. We're being treated like second-class citizens. But there is hope. There is change in the air. That's right. We have a new president. We have a new Congress. You know what that means? That means that we have a chance to be treated equally under the law. We have a chance to change DOMA, to be treated like first-class citizens, to pass ENDA, to pass hate crimes legislation, to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, to get full equality for LGBT people. So I ask you to please sign the petition to President-elect Obama. Everyone that has clipboards, please hold them up. Find people in the crowd and sign the petition. We want you to hear from us. Come up here, sign up, sign the petition, sign up the canvas with us to get more people to sign the petition. This is how we make change. Thank you.
So we are here today to send our President-elect Barack Obama a strong message of full equality. Now, Mr. Obama, we love you. I personally voted for you twice. But that doesn't make you immune from criticism. When you're wrong, we're going to say so. And Mr. Obama, using religion as reason to form your public policy stance, which denies same-sex couples the right to marry, is wrong. Civil unions are not good enough, and you're the candidate of change, so we're calling on you to change yourself. So right now, let's let Obama know, all the way in Washington, D.C., what do we want? Equal rights! And when do we want it? Now! What do we want? Equal rights! And when do we want them? Now! That's right. So now for our next speaker. He's a man that we all know very well. He attended school at Harvard University just over the river and graduated in 1962. In 72, he was elected to the Massachusetts legislature. During the same time, he entered Harvard Law School and graduated in 1977. In 1980, he was elected to fill an open congressional seat. representing Massachusetts 4th Congressional District. He had his first re-election in 1982, where he was deemed the underdog, and then came out on top by 20 points. He also came out of the closet in 1987, the first congressman to do so voluntarily. Since then, he has been re-elected consistently and easily, and has gone on to become the chairman of the Financial Services Committee. He is a true advocate for our community and the only left-handed gay Jew in Congress. I give to you Barney's friend.
I think the introduction sometimes gets wrong, but there is one point that I want to say. I was elected to the Massachusetts House in 1972. That year I introduced the packages, as we then called the gay rights bill, dealing with the sodomy law that was then on the books and anti-discrimination laws. The first time the bill came to a vote in the House in 1973, the House at that time had 240 members, and we got 11 votes for gay rights. And I say that because at any given moment we're fighting, and it can be frustrating to be fighting for something that everybody else can take for granted. But it's important for people not to get discouraged. We're a movement that is making great social change. I think it is very likely 20 years from now, this fight will be over. No, we shouldn't have lasted that long, and we should not have to wait 20 years. But it will be shorter if we work harder and better. The point, though, is that we are making progress. That's no reason to be satisfied. There's no reason to be grateful, because when there is something that shouldn't have existed in the first place, no one should ask us to be grateful because there's now less of it than there used to be. The relevance, though, is that this kind of commitment, this understanding of how politics work, and a determination to win our rights as citizens, that's been working. We have a ways to go. So I want to encourage everybody here that's absolutely right. Yes, it's true that we are here, but I hope no one will think I'm being too harsh when I say that it's nice to have everybody cheer here for equality. But no, they won't hear that one. They will read it. And here's what people need to do. Signing a petition is a good thing. In addition to signing a petition, if you're serious about it, write your own letter or email to the president, because that also helps. Call your representative and senators. Now in Massachusetts, they're all supportive. But people have to deal with priorities. People have to decide what they get to first. So it's important that everybody here call and write, and maybe go see your representative and senator and say, we are ready to move quickly. I can tell you from conversations, Speaker Pelosi is ready to move. I believe we will pass a fully inclusive hate crimes bill by this spring, and that the Senate will agree. That is, I think the President will be in the fall, we will get to ENDA. Now, as you heard from the instruction, we're still fighting on the transgender issue. And people have said, well, what's the problem? Well, here, as you know, the Massachusetts law, passed in 1989, does not include people with transgender. The bill was introduced last year to cover, 2 years ago in Massachusetts, to cover people with transgender. It failed. Now, I campaigned for it, we're going to push for it, but you have to understand, if something isn't done in Massachusetts or in New York, it becomes a little harder when it's going in South Carolina and Mississippi. We will win that fight. We'll win it politically. And once again, people need to call. Don't bother about hate crimes. We got the vote on that. Don't waste your phone call. But call your representatives and senators and tell them, and like the president, so we have to do it. If we get enough lobbying done, if we get a transgender group to bend the path by the fall. Finally, I believe congressional leadership is committed, and we will get rid of don't ask, don't tell. I think it is reasonable for the president first, and I hope that's very clear. elected with your help last November, yes, we have every right to insist that a fully inclusive hate crime bill, fully inclusive agenda, and the real don't tell go forward. That needs us to go to work on. We need to know that's a tougher political issue. As you've seen by California, so one of the things we've got to do is to continue our efforts to persuade people, to fight the myth. You know, we have this frustration. Every time I've been doing this since 1972, I've been engaged in efforts to ban discrimination based on race, sex, age, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity. For one time, I was fighting for ages affecting other people. Finally, I got a couple for me, sexual orientation and age. But every time we put forward a bill to ban discrimination, the opponents say the same thing. Oh, we don't really have anything against those people. But it would be very disruptive for this to happen. And every single time they made that argument, whether it was race or age or disability or gender, they've been wrong. And they keep making the argument. We did it right in Massachusetts in this sense. The court came first. Let's be honest, if there had been a move to same-sex marriage in Massachusetts before the Supreme Judicial Court made a ruling, we wouldn't have had the vote. You know what's being in reality? We had a couple of years of same-sex marriage as a reality before we had the critical vote. The problem in California was that the decision came close to an election. Because in every case, when we've got a chance to show people reality, the prejudice goes away because prejudice is literally ignorant. So we have got to keep that fight up. It means helping to persuade people. It means working hard. And this rally has taken exactly the right approach. Let the elected officials know that this is the agenda that has to go forward. As I said, I'm pretty confident, we can't take it for granted. We will hate crime, employment non-discrimination, engagement in military. We can win those in 2 years. Marriage is going to take longer, but that means we got to fight harder and start sooner, because it's not something we can let go away. There will also be, there's a very important lawsuit for the same people who fought the lawsuit that fought us marriage in Massachusetts. There's an article in the United States Constitution that says every citizen will get equal protection of the law. Right now, if you are a heterosexual couple whose marriage is recognized by Massachusetts, you get certain protection. If you are a same-sex couple, you don't. That clearly violates the concept of equal protection laws. So we have a lawsuit that will be going forward. Now, fortunately, lawsuits don't get to the Supreme Court right away. The reason for that is that gives Obama a chance, we hope, to appoint some people to replace some of the bigots now on the court. But there is no substitute for doing this politically. I understand. Yes. We have to put a lot of good energy into fighting. The great majority of Americans have a second.
You're staying up pretty high.
Standing out here listening to speak on a cold Saturday because they have what we're fighting for. What we are fighting for. We're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for some people. The kids in high school who are bullied before mentioned. For people who live elsewhere in this country, who can be quiet whom they love, no matter how long they do their job. So I'm glad that we have this rally. I'm sorry. Doesn't do it. The rally, as I hope, is inspire everybody here now to go home. Right before your representative. Right before your representative.
Did you people listen? Yeah, I just sent it differently.
Set out your holiday card list. Set out your list of people you can invite to that wedding that we haven't yet been able to have in other parts of the country. But you may have invited your wedding here. And write to them and say something. I think this is the time to start moving this back. We have to go to the people who love us and care for us and tell them that it is simply not logical for them to tell us they care for us, but that they're going to support people who would deny us the right to be treated equally. We can no longer tolerate people tolerating intolerance. We have to demand that the people who love us show that. And they show that all over this country by supporting people who are going to support us. And I look forward to the day None of us have to do this. We will be treated fairly in this country. Thank you. Your mayor, our mayor, Boston Mayor Tom Menino. Thank you very much. Thank Barney Frank. Everything he said, I agree. That's it. I didn't go through my city council back here. City council president Mike Ross and city council Mike Clarity. Let me just say, we're here today because we've won some battles. We haven't won them all. But like Barney said, we have to make sure the folks in Washington, Massachusetts, other states, our friends, get to their congressmen and senators. We have to make sure that they know how we feel about these issues. In Massachusetts, we have one of the very fortunate. We have a good congressional delegation supports us on this issue. But it's the other states. You know, as mayor of the city of Washington, I'm not mayor of this part of the city. I'm mayor of all the city. And all the issues that we're all here today, we have to represent you on. So to speak out on. When it came down to issues, domestic violence, all those issues, we're way up in front of those issues. We'll be up in front of our issues because it's important as mayor to tell people this is one Boston. Which will not stand any prejudice, intolerance. I raise those issues that folks out there want to have persuade to us. Equal rights, we all have the rights, all people have rights, I have rights. So as we stand here today, the clients are great to have you under the agree with us. We tried it. I wish to send a message to other folks who don't agree with us on these issues. We have strength. We have people who are with us on a lot of these issues. So to get these many people out on 16-degree weather shows you the strength we have. We're going to continue to. I think finally, the most important thing I think, folks, is to educate people on these issues. And that's what we did on the same-sex marriages. When first came out, oh my gosh, all the wheels coming to an end. Well, I know we made a lot of people happy, didn't we? Huh? We made a lot of people happy. The world did not come to an end. It's a much better world today than what was then, beforehand. So, you know, look, we have a lot of energy here today. Do me a favor, as mayor of the city. Go out and educate folks. Not just in Massachusetts, we have to go to the other states. Find your counterparts and have them go out and educate their elected officials. This is all about correspondence, education, make sure they understand. These aren't three-headed, individuals out there. These are real people, the real issues. And we must address, we want a better world for all our people. Thanks a lot.
I just want to recognize that we also have a very supportive state representative here, Carl Schwartzman. Now I'm here to introduce to you the lifelong resident of Cambridge, a graduate of UMass Boston and Antioch College, and a small business owner. She has served as elected member of the Cambridge Public Schools School Committee from 1992 to 2001. Since 2002, she served on the Cambridge City Council. Then in January 2008, she was unanimously elected by the City Council to serve as the first African-American female mayor. And she is the first African-American lesbian mayor in the United States. She is an advocate, an ally, and a champion. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Denise Simmons.
most right do, but for the cause of equal marriage for all citizens everywhere. I was ushered in by my, I would have to say handsome, chief of staff, Jeff Walker, and his little baby. And the reason why I just tell you that is because we're standing here not just for us, but we're also standing here for children, for young people, so that they don't have to live in the world that we live in, that it depends on where you live in the country, whether or not you get married or not. You know, it's really a travesty that we're out here in this 16-degree weather having to have this rally. It seems, as one of the signs said, it's an unalienable right for all of us to be here. To be here and to be able to be married. You know, as my friend usually said, I'm the first African-American LGBT gay lesbian, but my story is a story of struggle. I'm not going to talk too long because it's so cold, but let me share this with you. You know, my grandfather was born into slavery, where his comings and goings were modified and monitored by someone else. But he walked his way to freedom. And I know he would be proud, although he probably would have never really realized or thought that one day his great-great-great-granddaughter would one day be the mayor of a great city. But he would also be very disappointed that what he could enjoy once he won his freedom, which was the ability to marry the woman that he loved, that his great-great-great-granddaughter, if she lived anywhere else other than Massachusetts, would not have that same right. And so that's why I stand out here today and say that we have to lock arms, make those phone calls, write those letters, so that what we enjoy here, that is very fragile, I might add, others can enjoy as well. So I would say it's a pleasure to be here, stand out here. I'm thankful for the work that Joint Impact has done. There's also here, you know, we also have to remember that this is a bittersweet moment because, you know, 2 months ago we participated in something that countless Americans, my grandma, great-great-great-grandma, would come behind for a lifetime, would have believed would have happened. You know, it is an event that was made possible by giants like Frederick Douglass and Martin Luther King and Prince Hall, and yes, come behind my grandfather. 2 months ago, we elected a president and this country's founding that 200 years ago could have been bought and sold. And this nation, a nation that continues to struggle to reconcile a tainted past of race-based slavery, it cannot be overstated that to being named to have an African-American president is truly a great event. And if you live in Cambridge, you have an openly gay, lesbian, African-American mayor, and then in the state where there's a black governor, and then about to have a black president, you know, obviously. But as I celebrate all of this, you know, with all the cheering and all the excitement in the streets of Barack Obama's victory and what we can hear, share in Massachusetts, we have to understand that there are people, and I call them purveyors of evil, who do not rest. That although California has begun to recognize people who down in same-sex marriages, many people work overtime, all the time, to make sure that Proposition 8 is passed. And so even though while we celebrated Barack's victory, we had to also remember the demise of people's liberties. You know, it just gives me a particular bitter aftertaste, just, you know, when I think about it. We have an extraordinary opportunity here because we know what it feels like now to be free and be proud to be family. And there are those that do not. And it is really incumbent upon all of us, you know, as we go about this victory that we have, this victory that we have to understand, and the words that Martin Luther King had said, is that if anybody's rights anywhere are abridged, our rights are abridged. So I hope that you will join with me in working hard to overturn Proposition 8, so that all across this country, in the words of Martin Luther King, we can say, free at last, we are free to marry at last.
Right, hello, Boston! Are you staying warm? I am. Well, very soon we're going to be marching downtown. Are you ready to march? We'll be congregating to a warm indoor area soon after where there will be some hot coffee and bagels. So please, stay put. Now, our next speaker I'm very proud to introduce playing a key role in the advancement of LGBTQ equality in the United States. He's on the bar of both Massachusetts and California, and most recently he served to fight and win marriage equality in the great state of Connecticut. He joined the GLAAD organization in 2006 as staff attorney, and he is working now to support marriage equality for all 6 of the Menino states by 2012. And I know together we will achieve this. So I'm very happy to introduce the staff attorney, Jansen Wu.
Some of the girls take a moment and do a few jumping jacks. What do you think? Thanks for coming. This is beautiful. But I actually want to start off with a story about a married couple in Massachusetts who, like any family, have real challenges and problems that they face every day. Mary has been a state police officer for over 20 years. She collects and analyzes evidence at crime scenes. Her wife, Kathy, stays at home to take care of the 2 sons. She's on her PTA executive work and helps coordinate the book fairs to help raise money for their school. However, even though Mary risks her life and safety to protect the community, Kathy does have security and peace of mind that other officers doesn't have, who are guaranteed survivor benefits if something tragic happens to their spouses on the job. Why? Because Kathy and Mary are a same-sex couple, and the federal government refuses to recognize their marriage. And even though Kathy needs to receive her health insurance through Mary's employer, in order to stay home to take care of the kids, they would have to pay additional taxes for that spousal health insurance for Kathy to start working again, even though Mary's straight co-workers don't. Why? Because the federal government pretends that Mary and Kathy aren't married, but rather legal strangers instead. And even though Mary and Kathy, like any other family, could use every extra dime to save for emergencies or for their son's college funds, they have to pay extra taxes every year because they can't file their federal taxes jointly, even though their sweet married neighbors can. Why? Again, because the federal government discriminates against them by denying them valuable federal rights and protections that are normally offered to every other married couple and their children. This federal law called DOMA excludes legally married same-sex couples from the biggest program that our federal government offers to support and protect families. With DOMA, the federal government reaches into Massachusetts and divides legally married couples into 2 categories: those worthy of federal protection and those deemed unworthy. Now, when we talk about DOMA, we need to be specific, because there's actually 2 parts of DOMA. One part says that other states refuse to recognize the marriage of the same-sex couples married in another state. Now, this part didn't really add anything, though, because states have always had that right to decide which marriages to recognize. However, the other part of DOMA most directly harms same-sex couples who are married because of the valuable federal rights and protections. It limits marriage to those of one man and one woman and confines the definition of spouse to those people of the opposite sex for purposes of all federal law. These limitations of who counts as married directly impact 1,138 federal laws and programs in which marital status is a factor. Now, what rights and protections are we talking about? They include the right to take time off from work to care for your seriously ill spouse under the Family Medical Leave Act. They include the right, the ability of a citizen to sponsor his or her non-resident spouse for purposes of immigration and to keep their family together. They include prevention against elder homelessness when one spouse goes into a nursing home under Medicaid. They include Social Security's spousal survival benefits upon the disability, retirement, or death of the spouse. And the list goes on. By denying these legal benefits and protection to married same-sex couples, the federal government is treating these marriages as second class. And we have never had first-class and second-class marriages in this country before. All marriages should be equal under the law. Not to mention, the federal government has always deferred to state determinations of marriage before in the past, but not so for same-sex couples. The fact is DOMA tramples on states' rights by effectively undoing a marriage already sanctioned by the state. Now, despite its title, DOMA has actually nothing to do with, quote, defending marriage, because it actually doesn't even prevent any states from marrying same-sex couples. Each individual state still gets to decide who they marry, and Massachusetts has already made that determination that it wants to allow same-sex couples to marry. Instead of defending marriage, DOMA is actually one of the only examples of explicit discrimination against a group of people that we still have in our federal laws. And in doing so, many members of Congress vilified gay people in same-sex relationships during the House debates. For example, former Representative Bob Barr, who authored DOMA as a freshman legislator, argued in the House debates, quote, "The very foundations of our society are in danger of being burned. The flames of hedonism, the flames of narcissism, the flames of self-centered morality are licking at the very foundations of our society, the family unit." Is hard at work figuring out how to dismantle this discriminatory law. We've spoken to hundreds of married couples. We have looked into every federal program that DOMA affects. You can rest assured that when DOMA goes down, GLAD will be there. We can't do it without your help. Visit our website, support our campaign, join our email list, pick up a flyer, and learn more. And if you're married, please fill out one of our surveys online. And never forget that you are all messengers in this fight as well. And what you hear today are your tools. Most people out there have never even heard of DOMA. Get to them first and educate them. Tell them the truth about DOMA before they hear about it on Fox News first. Never underestimate the power of personal conversation to change a person's mind. Former Representative Bob Barr, who I just spoke about, is a perfect example. Just last Monday, in an op-ed in the LA Times, Mr. Barr rescinded his support for DOMA. This is the Bob Barr who authored DOMA in 1996. This is the Bob Barr who, during the congressional debate, argued that, quote, "the assault by the homosexual extremists to attack the institution of marriage would throw open the doors of the U.S. Treasury to be raided by the homosexual movement." 12 years later, even Mr. Barr is calling for a good deal. If Bob Barr can change his mind, so can anyone. Rallies are great, but it's time to get out there. Call your legislators and ask them to repeal DOMA and pass NDES and hate crimes and repeal domestic health. Education about federal discrimination. Because DOMA is not just a front to gay, lesbian, married couples, but to all of us who believe in equality for all. Now, I actually have the distinct pleasure to introduce a wonderful friend of mine, Judy Burgess and Rebecca Rowe, who are our actual real-life married same-sex couple being formed by DOMA as we speak right now. They did together 8 years and were married on the very first day of marriages in Massachusetts.
Thank you, Janet. We're so happy to be here. I'll go back to my partner, Judy Burgess. This is our daughter, Bo. as Jansen said, we've been together for 8 years. And we were planning on a rugby party. And we already decided we were going to get married and have our wedding when Massachusetts decided that we could legally get married here. And we were just absolutely thrilled. So on the first day we could, we went to Worcester County Courthouse at 5 a.m. at our apartment building. And we were the first ones to get to the waiver, 3-day waiting period. We got married in our backyard that day. That was amazing. And we're here because we're so thankful Massachusetts gives us the right to get married, but we're not recognized federally. And DOMA is hurting us. This is very personal. It's about us and our relationship, it's about our family, and it's about our daughter. And she deserves every right that every other child in this world, in this nation gets. Every right. She does not deny anything. DOMA is hurting us in so many ways. For example, if one of us were to die, Social Security would not go to the surviving spouse or the surviving parent. We would get no benefits. That is wrong. It's not fair that we provide any benefits to any other married couple, heterosexual couple we get. It is unfair, and we are here to make a stand and say this has to change, and DOMA has to be repealed. Thank you.
You know, Rebecca is absolutely right. This is our daughter, Bo. And we are here to tell you that it is not good enough that we are able to marry and have a child straight from Massachusetts, but we also have right to disability or have our marriage recognized. So what I want to say is don't be complacent, to echo Congressman Clark Frank and Mayor Menino. Don't be complacent. Your job starts now. DOMA. Yeah! Do you know that lesbians and gays in Massachusetts is public? Unbelievable. It's time to turn the chapter. It's time to start anew. It's time to stand up for our rights, fight for our brothers and sisters in the LGBT community in every state in this great nation. And most importantly, it's time to start the Defense of Love Act by acting today. It's time to turn the chapter of DOMA. Right to Barack, right to your congressman, right to the senators, in other states as well. Don't stop. And thank you for your time and watching. Let's go.
It's right across the street.
I can't move on this. Unless anybody wants to do jumping jacks, I can count to 10. I see no takers. It is my honor, thank you all for coming out. It is my honor to introduce the Reverend Mello. Reverend Jeffrey Mello is an Episcopal priest currently serving at Christ Church in Cambridge, New Hampshire. A longtime resident of Boston, Reverend Mello's work in the local LGBT community dates back to the early 90s. He served as the first employee of BAGA, the Boston Alliance of Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, and Transgender. Reverend Mello currently lives in Maine with his husband and their 8-year-old son. He speaks today on behalf of the pro-equality religious community at the Impact of Join the Impact and the Religious Coalition for Freedom to Marry.
Good afternoon, Boston. I want to tell you that it was just 1 year ago this very day that I was ordained to the Episcopal priesthood. And I have never been prouder to be a priest than I am today. This is what religious leaders have the responsibility to do. And I'm here to tell you a couple of things. As I stand before my 8-year-old son who watches today, I've never been prouder to be a dad. As my husband and I anticipate our 17th anniversary next month, I am never prouder to be a gay man. And I want to say some things to this gathered community. You know, I think it's genius that it's cold today. Because the gay community is always called on to be a place of warmth and light in a world that is cold. And we will continue to spread our light and we will continue to spread our warmth until all are convinced
until all can understand and answer the question, what about created in the image of God don't you understand? I have just a couple of things to say to you. The first is it is my honor to apologize. Because far too often people with these things around their necks use their position to spread hate. And our community has all too often been the target of that hate. And on behalf of the religious community, I'm sorry. The second thing I want to say is that God is on our side. Throughout all history, God has always stood with those who have been marginalized and outcast, who have yearned to be only who it is God created them to be. And so today God looks down and God says, thank you. God says, thank you for doing my work on that earth who has yet to hear it. And to those people who carry signs, who say that because of who we are and who we love, there's a special, warmer place waiting for us. To them I say, what part of created in the image of God don't you understand? And to President-elect Obama, I wish to say that those of us in the religious community and in our scriptures take covenants fairly seriously. We have a long tradition of God making promises and us making promises to one another. And God is watching. God is watching, President-elect Obama, and God wants to know you've made the promise. Now where will you stand? Thank you for coming out today. Thank you for understanding that it is our place in this world to shine and spread love and spread warmth. God loves each and every one of you, and I think you're fabulous.
You guys are doing super great. Thank you for standing out in the cold. I do want to say, each and every one of you is the movement. This is the movement right here. You guys are the reason, so thank you. I also want to say, DOMA is not the only thing that President-elect Barack Obama has promised our community. There are numerous other things, such as the Employment Non-Discrimination Act that must be passed, and completely inclusive. And also, Matthew Shepard Act, legislation against hate crime. It must happen. And we're here today to make sure that President-elect Obama continues with his promises. And this is what that voice is. So if you have not already, find volunteers with the signing sheets, sign it. Make sure your voice is heard. Our next couple of speakers are excellent people, and so I'm really excited to be the one to introduce. We have Ethan St. Pierre, who began lobbying in Congress in 1999. He's the founder and creator of transfm.org. He's a board member of the International Foundation for Gender Education, with the Families United Against Hate. And he also works on the Remembering Our Dead project as coordinator of the International Transgender Day of Remembrance. The other speaker we have is Gunnar Scott, which you all may know. Scott, let's hear it. He's the founding member and director of the Massachusetts Transgender Political Coalition, which is currently working to pass an act relative to gender expression protection, a legislation for gender identity and gender expression. And active in the transgender community for the past 10 years, Gunnar is a nationally recognized activist, an educator, and community organizer for LGBT health issues, LGBT partner abuse, and access issues for transgender communities. So let's hear it. Ethan and Gunnar, welcome.
Thank you all for coming out here today. We're freezing for our rights. I was a victim of discrimination in employment a few years back, and I came out and I started to transition and exhibit male identity. My security, apparently I was more intimidating as a woman. But my job, my last job, affected my whole family. My wife, who is disabled, we were going to live off of her Social Security benefit for quite a while. And it was very difficult. We have families, we have children, we have mothers that and families that were trying to, help get along. When we lose our jobs, it affects our families. It affects our lives. I was this close to being homeless. Speaking of families, in 1995, I lost my aunt, who was a transsexual woman, to violence. She was murdered for being a transsexual woman. And her killer, and that's a long time ago to some people, that they're like, oh, that's still close today. Their killer was up for parole next year. And we need an act of gender-based discrimination and hate crimes to pass. If that bill doesn't pass, other families are going to be subject to what my family was subject to. The violence and discrimination. And I also want to point out that me and my wife didn't get married until all the gay and lesbian people in the state were allowed to marry. So, we stand by us, we stand by people, we persevere. LGBT people, it's great to see us as one community.
Thank you, Ethan. Hello, everyone. I just want to talk briefly about EMDA, the Federal Employment Non-Discrimination Act, which was first filed 35 years ago, and why it's the responsibility of our government to pass such legislation, but also why it's the responsibility of the LGBT community to push for an inclusive EMDA, and an EMDA that includes both sexual orientation and gender identity, as well as any other federal, state, or local legislation protecting the rights of the LGBT community. As for our government, it is their responsibility and their obligation to make sure that all people, not just some people, may pursue life, liberty, and happiness, meaning basic access to jobs, healthcare, housing, and to be free from violence. But when it is only accessible to some people, it is the obligation of our federal government, as well as the state and local legislators, to speak up for those who are being denied such access. It is their job to work for us. Not just some of us, but all of us. When gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people are being systematically denied employment through not hiring or firing because of bias, not based on performance, skills, or any other attributes, but personal or moral beliefs about one person's sexual orientation or gender identity, then it is our government's responsibility to end such practices. It is the responsibility of the LGBT community to not leave anyone from the community behind in advocating for our equality. As we have seen here in Massachusetts with our own non-discrimination laws, 20 years after sexual orientation non-discrimination protections were passed, we're still waiting. We are still waiting for transgender people not to be denied equal opportunity, equal rights, equal access. So not only am I calling on for an inclusive ENDA, but I'm also calling for an act relative to gender-based discrimination and hate crimes to be passed in 2009 in our own state. Transgender people like Ethan are still being fired for simply being transgender right here in Massachusetts. The radical right wants us to be a divided community. They want us to be fighting with each other. Why are we playing into their plans? Divided we fall. And maybe 35 years ago the language did not show our unity, but we can change that now. We have the power to define our community. We have the power not to be divided, and we have the power not to play into the radical right. You are my community, and we are in this together. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. We are in this together. Thank you.
Hi, my little frozen popsicles. How are you all? All right, okay, let's get this going. We are marching. All right, we're going to dash, whatever we got to do, and we're going to walk. And we're going to let everyone know just what's going on. We're going to talk about, we're going to scream, yell, all down the parade, march, or whatever. So, what we're going to do, we're going to Old West Church, but we're following the route. We're going to go up to the front, going the stairs here, taking a left down Sherman Street, right on Park, and then we go up to the State House, take a right at the State House, and then a left on the Bowden Street, which will bring us back to Cambridge Street, and then left on Cambridge Street to the West Church. And there'll be lots of hot coffee and bagels, so my little popsicles can be melted. All right, let's move it!